I mean, the things that he's doing is not trying to make America better. He's ruining our infrastructure, every department in our government. He's ruining, and he's right now destroying our economy. He's taken away all of our allies. We're a pariah in the world.
The world of electric vehicles is changing before our eyes, and we are now facing a new turning point that could completely change the balance of power in this market. Imagine that one of the world's largest automakers, Toyota, which has long been considered conservative and lagging behind in electrification, suddenly announces that it is ready not only to catch up with but also to overtake the industry leaders.
Spray paint to vandalize and make a statement. People in Southern California are getting notes on their Teslas, calling them complicit Nazis for owning electric cars.
And who would have thought that in 2025, it would be Toyota that would be ready to offer something that could turn the entire industry upside down? Against the backdrop of the technological ambitions of Tesla, which has long been a pioneer in the electric vehicle market, Toyota is preparing a hidden revolution.
Does that help Tesla? I mean, you had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, right? You know.
The company, which has focused on hybrid technologies and hydrogen fuel cells for years, is unexpectedly changing its strategy and entering the electric vehicle arena with solid-state batteries that promise to blow up the market. These are not just promises, this is a reality that the company plans to implement in the next few years. With batteries that will provide a range of up to 745 miles on a single charge and charge in minutes, Toyota is close to creating a car that can completely eliminate all the problems electric vehicle owners face today.
Well, you will hear people over in Europe say the new Model Y, the Juniper, could be a difference maker, but that's been in that market now for more than a month. And you would think that you'd see a greater snapback if it's going to be a difference maker. Look, we could be wrong. It could be a difference maker once you get the sales for April, May, and June. But when you have a country like Norway, I think the sales were down something like 11% there. I mean, that's a very savvy EV consumer in Norway. And that's long been a strength for Tesla. Very small market, not huge volume, but I think almost all of the vehicles they sell there are electric. And they embraced Tesla long before others. And, you know, the reports there are not encouraging.
Just think about it. Charging in 10 minutes is the time we are used to spending filling up a conventional gasoline-powered car. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Toyota is developing its own infrastructure, strengthening its position with every step, and preparing to launch 15 new electric vehicle models by 2027. While Tesla is facing an overload of its supercharger network, rising material prices, and political scandals, Toyota is calmly and confidently building long-term plans that could put it on the pedestal of leadership in the new era of electric mobility.
That's from the European Automobile Manufacturers Association. People just choosing with their wallets to not buy Teslas because of that Musk-Trump association. And actually here in London, an activist group called Everyone Hates Elon actually have been hacking bus stop signs with posters. I actually passed one yesterday. First, I wasn't quite sure what was happening, but it said the words 0 to 1939 in 3 seconds. Illusion here, 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds or something. But this poster was alluding to the start of World War II, and the image was of Musk giving that hand salute that we saw at Trump's inauguration that many have attacked as a Nazi gesture. Musk, though, has neither admitted or denied what he was doing. But we're seeing the knock-on effect of that anti-Musk anger across Europe and in terms of sales.
But this is not just a battle for technology. It is a battle for the future of the entire transportation market. Every step Toyota takes, every new partnership and investment aimed at creating innovative batteries and infrastructure, shows that the company is willing to take risks for long-term victory. In this context, Tesla's story, with its spectacular successes but increasingly obvious problems, is becoming something of an anticlimax, a show that once captivated audiences but is now facing real challenges.
Running around on stage with the Tesla stock price, where the stock price had gone in half. And he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep, what a jerk. Like who derives joy.
In this video, we'll explain how Toyota, which was recently seen as an old player, is suddenly becoming a real threat to Tesla. We'll take a detailed look at what's behind their strategy, what technologies could change the game, and how Tesla can respond to this challenge. Get ready for an incredible story that could change everything we know about the future of electric vehicles.
Well, this feels more like a Tesla-only story when you look at just this fall in EV sales for them that they're suffering across Europe, down 45% in January. The wider EV market in Europe up 37%, so rivals are catching up and performing.
In the last few years, the electric vehicle industry has undergone incredible changes. A market that once seemed uninteresting and even risky for traditional automakers has now become the center of a global race. Companies such as Tesla have come to the fore with their ambitions and revolutionary technologies that have changed the perception of what the cars of the future should look like. But what will happen if this market, which until recently seemed completely dominated by one company, suddenly begins to change under pressure from a new player? Toyota, long perceived as a slow and traditional automaker, has been waiting for the right moment to make its move. And now, in 2025, all eyes are on the Japanese giant, which has finally decided to challenge Tesla.
We've accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
He praised all the domestic actions he has taken so far on immigration.
And I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country.
And spending cuts.
We are draining the swamp. It's very simple.
It seems that Toyota has been playing the long game, while Tesla, with its bold experiments and ambitious plans, was attracting all the attention. Toyota was patiently working behind the scenes. In its laboratory, the company was preparing a technological breakthrough that could wrest the lead from Tesla. After all, for Toyota, a company that proudly called itself a master of hybrid technology, electrification was only a matter of time. However, unlike the aggressive approach of Musk and his team, Toyota decided to proceed slowly and methodically. The company did not rush into the race for leadership, but began by analyzing all the weaknesses of existing electric vehicles. One of the most pressing problems faced by electric car owners was battery limitations. Short range, long charging times, and high battery costs. Toyota decided to tackle all these problems head-on to contribute to solving them. But no one could have expected that Toyota would choose a technology that had previously only been discussed in scientific circles: solid-state batteries. These batteries promised to be a real revolution in the industry. And now Toyota, which has invested billions of dollars in developing new technologies, is coming to the fore. Solid-state batteries, which can provide a range of up to 745 miles on a single charge and charge in just 10 minutes, are becoming the cornerstone of the company's strategy. Thinking about what could change the game, Toyota focused on solving one of the biggest problems: endless queues at charging stations, long waiting times, and high maintenance costs for electric vehicles. While Tesla owners were dealing with these issues, Toyota was solving them in advance, realizing that the future of electric mobility should not depend on cumbersome and expensive charging station infrastructure.
After Trump imposed those sweeping 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel imports, the European Union retaliating with tariffs on up to $28 billion of U.S. goods. Trump making it clear this isn't over, vowing to respond in kind with sweeping retaliatory tariffs early next month.
They're doing what they should be doing, perhaps, for the European Union, but it does create ill will. And as you know, we're going to be doing reciprocal tariffs. So whatever they charge us, we're charging them.
Canada also striking back with new tariffs on $20 billion worth of U.S. goods, mostly steel and aluminum, but also computers and sporting goods.
But as in any other race to take the lead, it is not enough to create cutting-edge technology. You also need to build the right strategy for years to come. And Toyota has done just that. The company has focused its efforts on developing not only new batteries, but also a completely new infrastructure that will allow innovative technologies to be integrated into everyday use. A partnership with Japanese energy giant Idemitsu Kosan and the creation of a new plant to produce lithium sulfide, a key component for solid-state batteries, were the first steps toward independence from unstable markets for rare materials. With these strategic decisions, Toyota has begun not just to follow trends, but to create its own standards and infrastructure for the future. The expected investment of more than $140 million in the construction of a lithium sulfide plant indicates that Toyota is ready to take an important position in the supply chain and secure its independence amid global instability.
Outperforming as well in some cases, doing better than Tesla. And you just have to think, how much more is this a sustained issue for Tesla going forward, given the fact that you have Elon Musk, who's been very forthright in his opinions, particularly weighing in on politics, particularly in Europe. We've just had the European elections, which Musk has been very focused on. But across the piece, when you look at the performance for Tesla in Europe, it's not just in small countries. A lot of countries where Tesla has been performing badly, including in Germany, in the UK where it has been lagging, and Spain as well.
This is not just a set of ambitious plans. Everything Toyota does is based on a clear understanding of the future of electric mobility. The company understands that it must keep pace with market needs, not today's trends. Extensive testing of solid-state batteries in the extreme climates of northern Canada and Alaska demonstrated their effectiveness even under the most challenging operating conditions. This information was not enough to cause a mass hype, but it was precisely this modesty and prudence that became the key to the company's success. Toyota did not rush to take the lead, but focused on details that would later prove decisive. While Toyota was working on its long-term plans, Tesla began to face increasing problems. With the number of electric vehicles on the road increasing, the supercharger network, once a flagship innovation, began to become overloaded. Despite the company's efforts to upgrade its infrastructure, customers began to experience long queues and breakdowns at charging stations. In addition, rising network maintenance costs and higher prices for lithium and other rare materials began to weigh on Tesla's financial results. These problems began to undermine the image Tesla had built up over the years.
Tesla shares have slumped by more than 9% amid a fall in sales in Europe. The electric vehicle maker posted lower sales across 5 European countries, including France and the UK. Joining us now to discuss this is CBS News foreign correspondent Remy Inocencio. Remy, why do we believe these sales are dropping? What's driving that?
Sure. Well, Errol, basically what Elon Musk has been talking about over the past, say, few months, ever since Donald Trump's election back to the White House, that has been fueling this anger, this frustration, some even say disgust towards Musk, and they're taking it out on Tesla. Tesla now feeling the pain. But because of what's happening here in Europe, Tesla sales fell by nearly half across the continent just last month, 45%.
Meanwhile, Toyota continued to ramp up its efforts to create the ideal technological foundation for the future. The company did not rely on external threats and problems that could at some point overshadow its success. It purposefully built infrastructure and tested its innovations, preparing for the moment when the whole world would look at electric vehicles differently. This long-term approach paid off, and Toyota soon found itself in a position where it could easily jump on the new wave of change in the industry. But when Toyota made its move in 2025 and began installing charging ports compatible with Tesla's system, many saw it as an acknowledgement of its competitors' leadership. It was a key moment when the company not only recognized the standard, but also prepared its offensive strategy. Toyota, as always, played the long game, and its quiet but strategic move sent a signal to the entire market: the real game is just beginning. Preparations for this moment have been long, but now, in 2025, it has become clear that Toyota is not just catching up with Tesla, but is planning a serious offensive that could change the rules of the game in the electric vehicle market forever.
371, most were saying 350 to 360. Now they're coming in at 336,068, production of 362,615. So for some point of reference here, you're going back to Q2, maybe Q1 of 2022 in terms of the last time that they had production this or deliveries this low for one quarter. So again, Tesla deliveries worse than expected at just over 336,000 deliveries in the first quarter. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
That's horrible. Can I just ask Phil, how about the Cybertruck? How's that doing? You got a little inventory there in the Cybertruck?
The solid-state battery technology being developed by Toyota could be the breakthrough that completely changes the rules of the game in the electric vehicle market. This solution promises not only a revolution in the field of batteries, but but also the creation of new standards that could rewrite the history of electric mobility. While Tesla has long been considered the leading force in the electric vehicle market, striving to improve range and minimize charging times, Toyota has been working behind the scenes to prepare a real technological leap forward. Solid-state batteries, compared to traditional lithium-ion batteries, offer much higher energy density, safety, and durability. These advantages could not only eliminate current limitations but also significantly improve the performance of electric vehicles. Solid-state batteries promise a range of up to 745 miles on a single charge, making this technology a true technological marvel. The ability to charge the battery in just 10 minutes is not just an improvement, but a real breakthrough that could wrest leadership from Tesla. While Musk's company still faces challenges with charging infrastructure and lithium and cobalt supply issues, but Toyota isn't stopping at simple improvements. The company is focused on creating an entire ecosystem, including improving technological processes, creating new production facilities, and seeking partnerships to achieve the most efficient and scalable solutions possible. The news that Toyota is working with Japanese energy giant Idemitsu Kosan to build a plant to produce lithium sulfide, a key component for solid-state batteries, is generating a lot of interest in the industry.
Hey Diane, this investigation really just beginning, and one of the key elements will of course be the surveillance video, and investigators potentially have a lot of it to work with as they try to figure out what caused this fire. We know that surveillance footage has been turned over, including video from each of the cars, which could prove vital to understanding what happened here, because each vehicle has its own camera system that works even when the car is off, and 16 cars burned in this fire, and right now investigators don't know what caused it.
At the same time, Tesla is facing growing challenges that are preventing it from maintaining its market position. One of the most notable problems has been the overload of the supercharger network. As the number of Tesla cars continues to grow, the infrastructure that was once considered its flagship is beginning to falter. Popular charging stations now often have queues, and charging times, which seemed optimal, are becoming a lengthy process that does not meet user expectations. As 2025 approaches, Tesla is facing issues that did not previously concern it so acutely: infrastructure overload, maintenance costs, and the need to expand its network at the expense of other automakers. All of this creates problems that prevent Tesla from developing its unique model.
Canada, the largest supplier of steel to the U.S., slapping new tariffs on $20 billion worth of U.S. goods that are sold in Canada. And the 27 countries of the European Union imposing retaliatory tariffs on up to $28 billion worth of U.S. goods sold in Europe, including Harley-Davidson motorcycles and Kentucky bourbon. President Trump with the Irish Prime Minister visiting the White House today. The president suggesting his tariffs won't stop here, saying, "Of course, I'm going to respond." And tonight, right here, the new poll showing 56% of Americans disapprove of President Trump's handling of the economy. The number's even worse now on the president's tariffs.
Moreover, raw material problems are becoming increasingly apparent. Sharp increases in the prices of lithium, cobalt, and nickel, as well as rising extraction costs for these materials, have had a significant impact on the cost of cars. Unlike Toyota, which plans to control the entire cycle from raw material extraction to final product manufacturing, Tesla is forced to seek solutions, often resorting to purchases from third-party suppliers, which makes it more dependent on external factors. These problems faced by Tesla, especially against the backdrop of growing demand for electric vehicles, have begun to seriously undermine its market position. Material shortages are causing production delays, and rising battery prices are affecting the final cost of cars. These challenges facing Tesla are beginning to pose a serious test for the company.
Over the last couple of months. But the other thing that this could potentially be is an attempt at readjustment or correction by the Trump administration, in that one of Trump's closest kind of allies and supporters, and someone who's clearly very influential in the administration, is coming out to kind of push back against the recently implemented policies. So I'm thinking, or maybe hopeful is the right word, that this might be a signal that the administration is considering walking back some of those policies.
Meanwhile, Toyota continues to focus on its long-term strategy and strengthening its position. An example of its systematic approach is not only the development of new batteries, but also the creation of a new infrastructure that will support its electric vehicles at all stages of operation. With Tesla's growing problems and the rising costs of maintaining its charging network, Toyota could offer a much more attractive solution based on the latest technologies that will allow electric vehicle owners to charge their cars faster and more conveniently. This could radically change the concept of electric vehicle charging, making it more accessible and convenient for ordinary consumers. Toyota's approach could be the key to its success in the coming years. The company is already preparing to launch 15 new electric vehicle models by 2027, which will enable it to not only occupy the premium segment niche, but also gain a strong foothold in the mass market. Unlike Tesla, whose strategy often faces challenges at all levels, from developing new models to expanding its charging infrastructure, Toyota has demonstrated its ability to control all stages of production and implementation of new technologies.
Worse than expected, 336 and 68 vehicles, 336,068 vehicles delivered in the first quarter for Tesla. For a point of reference, the street was expecting, the street account was expecting, based on analyst expectations.
At the same time, despite all Toyota's ambitions, Tesla remains in the spotlight. But its future is now in serious doubt. Problems with raw materials, overloaded charging station networks, and growing political and legal pressure could seriously undermine its position. On the one hand, Musk's company continues to lead in sales and autonomous driving technology, but on the other hand, its dependence on external factors and scaling issues are becoming increasingly apparent. Unlike Tesla, which is trying to expand its charging station network at high maintenance and upgrade costs, Toyota can offer a solution that does not require such large investments in infrastructure.
But they are not ruling out the possibility that this was arson. At the same time, as you just mentioned, there are groups that have been organizing ongoing and peaceful protests at Tesla dealerships around the world. These demonstrations targeting Elon Musk and his affiliation with the Trump administration. Italy's prime minister is said to be close friends with Musk, and there were reports that Teslas have been vandalized in her hometown in Italy. Diane.
We should not forget the growing ethical concerns surrounding the extraction of rare materials for batteries. Tesla has faced criticism over working conditions in mines in Africa, where the metals needed for production are extracted, and the threat that such scandals could undermine brand trust among conscious consumers. In response, Toyota is not only addressing raw material issues, but also focusing on the environmental friendliness of its technologies, minimizing its environmental footprint, and reducing its dependence on dirty sources.
KTLA Samantha Cortese joins us live with more on the wave of vandalism in protest of Elon Musk and his role in Washington. Sam?
Hi, Sharon, Micah. The ATF and FBI are collaborating with federal, state, and local law enforcement to investigate acts of domestic terrorism surrounding Teslas.
Instead of fighting for supremacy with loud statements and a rapidly growing network of charging stations, Toyota prefers to move forward at a calm, confident pace, providing the world with reliable and durable solutions that will benefit not only in the short term but also in the future. And if solid-state battery technology lives up to expectations, we may witness not just a change in leadership, but a true revolution in the electric vehicle industry.